What's up YouTube, it's JM with JM Invest. In this video I'll be teaching you how to understand technical charts and what I'm talking about in my videos. I'll also be going over what Tradingview is, the fundamentals of Tradingview charts, and a ton of tips and tricks that I've learned over the years that will save you a bunch of time. So please like the video to help out the channel, subscribe if you're new and hit that bell notification to get the latest updates, and share this video with others who you think could benefit from it. Alright, so first, what is a chart? It is a real-time and historical representation of price over a certain period of time. What is Tradingview? Tradingview is a real-time charting software for stocks and cryptos, a social network for users to share their trading ideas, and a hub of financial and global economic data. So as you can see here on their page, they have charts, they have indicators here, they have a programming language called PineScript, which can be used to create indicators. They also have alerts, and it is a social network. And on their How It Works page, you can see that there are 15.5 million investors, 6 million ideas published, and 33.9 charts that have been created. So it's a pretty big website full of millions of users. So let's dive in right into the charts on Tradingview. You can click on Tradingview here. You can choose a ticker. So I want to look at ETH. Type it in right there. So Ethereum US dollar comes up. This is the exchange that it's on. If I click on here, you can look at all the different exchanges that hold Ethereum. I like Gemini. Click on Gemini, and then you can click on full featured chart. So right down here, you can see all the different exchanges and the different prices on those exchanges. And it shows you just a basic line chart here. But I like to go to the full featured chart. Click on that. I'll just drag that over and get rid of that other tab that I had. And this is the default appearance and chart layout that you have when you first use a chart. So up here is the symbol. I just looked up Ethereum USD, and it shows here Ethereum to the US dollar. I'm on a 1-day time frame, and this is from the Gemini exchange. And up here you can see the time frame. So I'm on the daily time frame, which means each one of these candles represents a day of price action. So if you look down here at the bottom by where my mouse is, you can see that's February 3rd, that's February 2nd. If you click on these different time frames, if you click on 12 hours, here you can see that this is February 3rd starting from 16 o'clock. This is February 3rd starting from 4 o'clock. That's February 2nd, so on and so forth. So each one of these candles represents 12 hours. So 8 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour. And these up here are saved time frames that I have. So they're broken down into minutes, hours, days, seconds. So you'll hear the phrases higher time frame and lower time frame. And a higher time frame usually means a higher amount of days. So higher time frame can usually mean even a month down to 4 hours, and then lower time frame can mean minutes and even seconds. So anything below an hour I would consider a lower time frame. So when people ask you to look at lower time frame or LTF and HTF charts, that's really what that means. And lower time frame charts are usually used by scalpers. Scalpers are people who make trades with a very small amount of time. So they usually use the 5-minute to the 1-minute time frame, right? And they try to catch little moves upwards. So from here, for example, on this 1 minute, so they try to catch that small 2% rise that you see here. While swing traders, they usually use higher time frames, and long-term investors obviously use higher time frames. So for swing traders, they would try to catch movements like this from here to up here, getting a little bit bigger of a percentage increase, while institutions are looking usually at the week and monthly charts. They're trying to accumulate down here in this area when things have bottomed out. Okay, so I'll go over what a candlestick is. Right here, this bar, got an alert. So you can set some cool alerts. I set that one for crossing above the 116 price range and then made myself a little note. So I wrote that myself. You can go over alerts later. But these bars are called candlesticks, and you can see up here there are different bar styles. The most commonly used are candles and lines. So what is a candlestick? A candlestick is a representation of price, and there's 4 elements in a candlestick. There's the opening price, the closing price, the high, and the low. And that is represented in the body and as well as the wick. So the body is the big solid colored bar here, and the wick is the thin vertical line. So the body is where the opening and closing prices are represented. This green candle means that it was a positive candle, or it was a candle that went upwards, meaning that it opened here. We're looking at this candle, for example. So it opened here and then it closed here. And then the wicks represent where the price went during that time span. And these candles represent a whole time span. So if we're looking at the time frame of a day, that means that the candle opened here, closed here, but in between that day, the price went all the way down to this level and then went all the way up to that level where that wick is. And when I hover over one of these, you can see up here the opening, the high, the low, and the closing. So if you look back up there, it tells you the exact stats of this entire bar and how much of a percentage gain it went up during that time, or also how much of a price that went upwards of that time. And then the red just represents that the candle opened at the top, opened at a higher price, and then closed at the bottom, closing at a lower price. And that's really all you have to know about these candles. If we look at the line graph, which is usually what is shown in things like CoinGecko or other charts, this represents the closing price. So if you actually double click on the graph, you can set what the price source is. So you can set it to the closing price, you can set it to the opening price, the high or the low, but most traders use the closing price. And if we go back to the candle, you can see that the closing price was here, the closing price was there. So that line graph basically just draws a line from that point to that point. Or if we flip it to the red candles, it starts here and then draws a line all the way down to there. So it depends on the closing price. Also, you'll hear the term bearish and bullish. Bearish means that it's going downwards, and bullish means that it's going upwards. All right, and that about does it for these candlesticks. I'll go through the rest of the Tradingview UI with you. So right here you have compare or add symbol. So if we click that, I can choose Bitcoin, for example, and then use a new price scale. And you can see here that the price scale is to the left, and you can compare these charts together. So, and it also might be easier to look at this in terms of another bar graph. So you can see here that while this was going up, this was going down, so it was better to be in Ethereum at this point. So let me just get rid of this. I just want to hit delete to get rid of that. All right, let's look at indicators. So indicators are just mathematical calculations of price. Usually it uses the closing price. So if we go over here to the moving average, this is a calculation of the average of the closing price in a certain time window. So it says here 9, and that means in the past 9 candles, it took all the closing prices and divided it by 9. And that's how it gets that certain point right there. So from this point, it went back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles, took all the closing prices. So this closing price plus this, plus this, plus this, blah, 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 divided by 9 is how you get this price. And if you go here, you can change the different time frame for it. So a common one is a 21. moving average, and as you can see, these moving averages and these indicators in general are used to predict price movement as well as predict support and resistance levels. So let's go through the rest of this UI. Right over here so we were just on indicators and strategies. Right over here is fundamental metrics for stocks. Those are financials. As you can see, there's gross profit, operating expenses, operating income. There's balance sheets, cash flows, and other types of financial statistics. And that usually isn't used so much in crypto. Right over here, you have indicator templates. So basically, you can choose a bunch of different indicators here and save it as a template. So as you can see, I have a bunch of different templates on here that I've saved, and by clicking just one of these, it loads up all the indicators that you saved in this indicator template. All right, and over here you can create an alert. You can also just right click anywhere where you want to make an alert. So for example, if I want to be alerted when the price dips below 1620, I can right click here and then add an alert. And then right here you can set it to crossing, crossing up, crossing down, and all these other options. You can set the value here, and you can actually change this value. So if you actually wanted it at 1600, you can change that value. You can set this alert to happen only once or every time. And then you can choose an expiration time. I usually choose open-ended, meaning it doesn't have an expiration time. You can choose to alert yourself via the app or show a pop-up. You can also send an email, webhook, and then set it to play a sound or send email to SMS. You can then change the alert name here and type in any message that you want. There's also special placeholders that you can use. So that close means that you would put the closing price and the time and the plot. And if you click on this question mark, you can see all the different types of alerts and values in here. All right, so I'll just do that to create. And as you can see, that alert has a orange dashed line right there. So if the price goes below that, then I will get a pop-up or an email or whatever settings that you've set. You also have this bar replay option right here next to alerts. When you click it, you can see that there's this that pops up. There's this red line, and if you click anywhere on the chart, it will revert this chart back to that line. So for example, I chose that time right there. You can say every second it comes up with a new bar. You can also click this to go back even more. And then if you hit this, you can control how fast it goes. And then here will bring you to real time. All right. And click X to exit out of that replay. And then you have your basic undo, redo. You have a different layout here, so you can actually have multiple different windows. So for example, if I want to have one ticker over here to the left and another to the right, I can choose that. And you can see here, this is just an indicator called the Super Guppy, and I can go through that at a later date. But I'll just set this to 0 as well. So like if you wanted to look at Bitcoin at the same time. And to do that, I actually just got on my keyboard and started typing, and any letter you put in or any letter that you type will show up as the first letter. So I just typed in BTC USD. That's a quick way to go about it. And then let's go on to the Gemini one. And then this also switched to BTC, but if you go over here and click on select layout again, you can decide whether to sync all the charts. There's different ways to sync it. There's either the symbol, the interval, the time, the crosshair, and you can also sync drawings. So what the symbol means is that on both of these windows, you'll have the same symbol. So if I unclick symbol and then I go back to the chart on the left and type in ETH USD, then you'll be able to see Ethereum and Bitcoin at the same time. So you can just play around with these and as to what they mean. This right here is chart properties. You can click that and you can have a whole bunch of different chart settings, and I'll go through that more in depth in another video. I just want to basically help you understand how to read these charts in this video. So let's go back to one chart right here. I do really like my charts to be black and white, or black and green really. So for me, this green means that it's going up, the black means that it's going down. I think this to me is just more pleasant to look at. A lot of people like the default red and green candles. So over here, you can actually save these templates. The default is the red and green candles. If you go back to settings, you can change these different appearances. So the background here you can change. So I usually change that to that color, and then this one to that color since it's a gradient. Otherwise you can choose solid and you have just one color that I like to choose over there. Some people just like the really white look. A little bit too white for my liking, so I go a little bit lower in light. And then to change the scales text over here, you would change this to black, go to symbol, change the body to white since that's positive, change this to black, change the border. You can have a little gray border, and then a wick would be black, or you can actually have that black as well, and then have both of them black. And that's how you get the black and white chart settings. And then you can go here and save the template, save as black and white. And as you can see, I have a bunch of different settings. So I usually like to use black and green. So that's it for this video. I just wanted you to have a basic understanding of how to read these charts and a basic overview of the Tradingview charts. And next video will be a part 2 video of this, and I will go over these things on the left, which are chart tools, and then on the right, what all these icons mean. And I forgot to mention, please use my referral code. You'll see that down in the description area, and use this link right here. And then I get $30 as well as you get $30 once you upgrade to a paid plan. Also, let me know in the comments below as to what else I could go over, if I missed anything in these charts on the top bar in the UI, and what else you'd be interested in me going over in Tradingview. So thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great day.